At 10, this is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
The state of Connecticut and much of the country in mourning tonight. Former Connecticut Senator Joe Lieberman has died at the age of 82. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Brent Harden.
And I'm Sarah Sanchez. Lieberman's family released a statement this afternoon telling the world he passed away in New York City from complications he suffered from a fall. Just weeks ago, he was back here in his home state speaking at Quinnipiac University.
Lieberman spent decades in public office, including 24 years representing the Constitution State in Congress, and even more before that as Attorney General. Tonight, we want to share more about his life and legacy. Call him Connecticut's middleman, a strong politician who knew how to work the crowd and get in the good graces of those on both sides of the aisle. Joe Lieberman will always be known as one of Connecticut's fiercest leaders and a transformative figure in American politics. Born and raised in his native Stamford, Lieberman rose through the ranks, serving in the state Senate and as Connecticut's 21st Attorney General under then-Governor William O'Neill. Then, in the late 80s, he took on a new endeavor, serving Connecticut in our nation's capital. Lieberman would defeat former Governor and Republican Senator Lowell Weicker to turn that Senate seat blue again and become the first Orthodox Jew to serve in the U.S. Senate. From the outset, Lieberman worked the middle of the aisle, supporting issues raised by both Democrats and Republicans, a bipartisan nature that would translate much stronger later on in his political career. Then, the big news that rocked the state: Joe Lieberman was chosen as Al Gore's running mate in the 2000 presidential election, an election that proved to be controversial and ultimately resulted in George W. Bush's first of 2 terms, following a Florida recount overseen by the U.S. Supreme Court. Lieberman himself went a step further, throwing his hat into the presidential ring in the next election while continuing to serve in the Senate. In 2006, he would face a challenge from businessman Ned Lamont for that Senate seat, an election that proved pivotal in Lieberman's political career. His opposition to affirmative action, other viewpoints skewing more conservative, and his support for the Iraq War. These factors and more turning Lieberman from a strong Democratic force into an independent politician. He would still secure another term in office, his final one. In 2012, the Senate seat flipped blue once again when Chris Murphy was elected to serve in Washington.
At the end of this term, I will have served 24 years in the U.S. Senate and 40 years in elective office. By my count, I've run at least 15 full-fledged campaigns, and that's just in Connecticut, not counting the national campaigns I was involved in. So, for me, it is time for another season and another purpose under heaven.
A loving husband and father, a committed leader for his state, a man of faith, Connecticut will remember the life and lasting legacy of Joe Lieberman.
And the family of Joe Lieberman releasing details tonight on the plans to lay him to rest. They say the senator's funeral will be held this Friday, March 29th at the congregation Agdudas Shalom in his hometown of Stamford. They also say another memorial service is being planned, but information on that has not been released as of this hour. Connecticut's news station is still gathering reflections and reactions to the death of Joe Lieberman. Our coverage continues tonight and beyond, on air, online, and on demand at Fox 61 Plus.
All right, breaking tonight from the city of Meriden, where police are investigating after a man was hit and killed by a vehicle. It happened along the Berlin Turnpike just after 7:30 this evening. Police have the turnpike shut down right now in that area, along with several surrounding ramps to investigate. Police are looking for anyone who might have seen this crash to come forward. All right, turning now to the forecast, and some showers scattered across the state tonight. And it looks like they're going to stay here for a bit. Make sure you keep your umbrella handy heading into tomorrow.
Yeah, you might be running those windshield wipers tonight. Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank joining us. The rain this month has been record-breaking. Rachel, any danger of flooding from this next stretch of rain, though?
I think the threat for flooding this time around is lower than the previous storms that we've seen over the last, 6 months to a year or so. That being said, it's going to be a close call, especially in eastern Connecticut, where the heaviest will come down. Overall, we're anticipating 1 to 2 inches of rain, with the highest amounts in eastern Connecticut. Right now, a few scattered showers, but nothing big on the way. That being said, there's more rain coming out of Philadelphia, and if we back things up, you'll see more rain heading this way from all the way down through Florida. So all of this moisture is streaming up the East Coast. and heading in our direction. The National Weather Service has issued a flood watch for Windham County, the only county in Connecticut, and also for areas to the east for rivers, streams, basements, poor drainage areas. It may end up expanding, but for now, this is where the highest confidence is of those higher amounts. So taking a look over the next 12 hours, we'll see temperatures fairly steady with that rain really filling in. So it's kind of scattered showers right now, but I think that rain will be more widespread as we head towards daybreak and steady. And it's rain for breakfast, lunch, and dinner tomorrow all day long with temperatures right around 50 degrees. At times, the rain could come down heavily, and then we'll see things drying out by the time Friday rolls around. We'll show you the future radar plus some changes for the weekend coming up.
It's not very appetizing, Rachel, I got to say. All right, thanks a lot. New at 10 tonight, state police are investigating 2 attempted carjackings, both along one of our state's busiest highways.
One incident happened in Darien at an I-95 rest stop. Just minutes after that, a similar story at a rest stop in Milford. That's where we find Fox 61's Jake Garcia tonight, who has the latest on the search for the suspects. Hi, Jake.
Hi, Brent and Sarah. This all happened in the span of just 3 hours, and now state police are looking for suspects who started the day causing trouble along the I-95 corridor. State troopers say it all started just after 4:30 Wednesday morning in Darien on the I-95 North rest stop, when a couple noticed a white sedan pulled in behind them and attempted to get the 2 victims out of the car. But the 2 were able to lock the car, causing the suspects to drive off. An hour later, a second attempted carjacking happening on the south side of I-95, this time in Milford, where troopers say a man was putting gas when he was approached with a man in a mask who pulled out a gun. Troopers say the victim sprayed the suspect with gasoline before jumping into a black sedan and speeding away. 10 minutes later, just across the highway, a woman was leaving the building when a man wearing a mask pulled out a gun and demanded her keys. As the suspect took the keys, 2 more people got into her Acura before driving off, leaving a Kia Forte on the scene still running. Troopers say just before 7:30 this morning, the stolen Acura had been in a crash in Hamden, where the driver and passengers had ran from the scene. State police say the Kia and Acura were taken as evidence as police investigate. For drivers who stop at these rest areas often, they're surprised by the news.
It's concerning. It's very, very unsettling. You worry. You want to make sure that everybody's safe and taken care of. It was a little shocking.
Pay attention to what's going on around me, but I never see anything like strange. Well, honestly, I'm shocked to hear about it.
While some drivers say they're not surprised to hear about this type of crime, especially around this time of year.
Unfortunately, with the carjackings and crime along this corridor, nothing surprises me. It's a corridor for all kind of stuff that happens.
Drivers say this makes them more aware when they're making a quick pit stop.
So it makes me a little cautious, making sure that the car is locked when I'm going and running to get my drink.
Now, state police are asking if any drivers who were traveling along I-95 at the time saw anything to contact state police in hopes of identifying the suspects. Reporting live in Milford, Jake Garcia, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Thank you, Jake. Big weekend on tap for the defending champions in a matchup reminiscent of the Huskies' national championship victory just a year ago.
Yeah, UConn battles San Diego State in the Sweet 16 round in Boston, a rematch of last year's national title game. Fox 61 sports director Jonah Karp is up in Boston following the Huskies' quest for back-to-back titles.
It was just about a year ago I was standing on the floor of NRG Stadium in Houston, surrounded by confetti, and reporting that UConn beat San Diego State to win the national championship. Well, now I'm in Boston ahead of a Sweet 16 matchup where we've got the same matchup, UConn versus San Diego State, and a chance for the Aztecs to get some revenge. By the way, only the 4th time in NCAA tournament history that a title game rematch is occurring the following year. Of course, each unit looks a little different than the ones from last season. Here's one big way the Huskies are different. They've got a star freshman in Stefan Castle this year, who's one of the most dynamic players in the country. Forget the freshman label. Steph can shut down the best opposing guards in the nation. We saw it in the round of 32, where he stifled the scoring of Northwestern star Boo Buie. And it's no accident. Defense is a strong element of Castle's game.
How much pride do you take in your defense?
I mean a lot. I just want to win games. So If that means, guarding the other team's best player, then that's what it'll be.
He's the best freshman in the country, and I feel like he's proven that. People may not see it, but if you go look at the numbers, no one guards the ball the way he does in the country. Not even just freshmen, like all players.
You showed yourself to a high standard. I mean, I don't know if there's a higher standard than trying to be perfect, so just trying to hold myself to that kind of standard every single day.
He wants to play defense. He wants to, do whatever his team needs him to do, and he's not like any other freshman, just the way he, helps his team win.
Castle's defense could play a big role again, but the guy to stop for the Aztecs is Jaden Ledee, and he's a forward, a guy who the front court will be tasked with stopping. The only player on San Diego State, by the way, who's averaging double figures in scoring. He puts up an average of about 21.5 points per game. And how about the fact that this Sweet 16 matchup is taking place here in Boston? We already have Madison Square Garden, affectionately nicknamed Stores South, and after last weekend's 2 victories at Barclays Center, you can loop Brooklyn in there as well. How about Boston being Stores North? The Huskies hope the faithful creates that kind of environment. TD Garden the home for the next 2 rounds of the NCAA tournament in this region, starting with the rematch of last year's championship game. UConn taking on San Diego State, a long way to travel for the Aztecs, but only a short trip up from Connecticut for Husky Nation, and for people close to some of the players like Massachusetts native Alex Caravan.
How many friends and family do you have come tomorrow?
I have no idea. I have my mom and Chris dealing with that right now, so I'll probably know right when after the game or before the game. But I honestly have no idea.
Alex is a Celtics guy. I'm more of a Knicks guy, so we have a battle. We clash a little bit, but I mean, playing in Boston has such rich culture. 17 championships, maybe 18. So it's going to be electric. It's going to be a great feeling, and we're going to be ready for it.
Hassan Diarra knows a thing or two about playing in his hometown. He's from Queens, so Brooklyn was a homecoming for him. Husky fans traveled well down to Brooklyn, and we're going to see them again here in Boston for a Sweet 16 battle between UConn and San Diego State. In Boston, Jonah Cart, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Thanks, John. I like Stores North. Let's go with it. That'll work. As for their counterparts, the UConn women, they're off to the Sweet 16 round as well, though their travels take them all the way across the country. Husky Nation sent the women off in style from the Stores campus as the team looks to go for its 12th national title. UConn is in Portland for the next round of the NCAA tournament, where they will play the Duke Blue Devils in the Sweet 16. UConn has made it to 30 straight Sweet 16 rounds, an unprecedented feat for any college basketball program. Their matchup with Duke is on Saturday, so go Huskies.